Everyone's flying around. My name is Jordan. This video will be for Friday slate. For a lot of people who've been saying, where are the props at in the videos? Well, I normally don't have them the night before, but since none of these teams are on a back-to-back because they're cup games, it'd be unfair to have a team on a back-to-back. A lot of props are out now, so I will, whenever I talk about a player and a prop, I'm going to show it up on the screen. I found a good bit of them that I think are good value, good matchups, and all that stuff. If they don't have a prop out yet, it'll just pop up on the prop radar, and we'll wait and see what their props look like. So you will see images that come up on the screen on both sides. So those will be from a data app called Outlier. There'll be a link in the description for a 7-day free trial for Outlier. So let's jump right into this. So this first game is the Cavaliers at the Wizards. Cavaliers are 13.5-point favorites. They will be without Lonzo Ball and Dean Wade, and DeAndre Hunter is probable for this one. The Wizards, Bilal Coulibaly is out, and the Cavs are 2-6 against the spread this year, and the Wizards are 1-7 against the spread this year. So Wizards are now the owners of the most points given up this year. The Nets no longer have that title. Wizards also give up the second most rebounds and the second most assists. With this being a cup game, I'm not sure if the Cavaliers care much because Donovan Mitchell and then Jared Allen sat out the first one. But this is a good opportunity to get point differential, which is a tiebreaker. So they would want to win by a lot here. So hopefully they go all in and they really care about this one and they get a really big win. So this is going to be a really tough matchup for the Wizards guy I pointed out last time, Alex Sarr, who had a really good game. The Cavaliers give up the least amount of points to the center position. So really tough matchup for him. And then obviously Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley are really good plays, but someone to put on the prop radar who their prop is not out yet is going to be Sam Merrill. So he started out the year in the starting lineup. He got hurt and he came back, and he has hit 3 or more threes in every single game he has played. Even the game that he got hurt in and he played very few minutes, he hit 3 threes in that game before he got hurt. So he has hit 6 threes, 6, 4, 3, and then he came back and he knocked down 4 threes. So I can imagine his three-point line is going to be at 2.5. So if we get that, I do not mind that for Sam Merrill. And with Lonzo Ball out, I think more guard minutes are going to come his way. The Cavs main guys kind of coming together. They're playing a little bit better basketball. I do expect them to get the blowout here versus the Wizards, who have not been that good, and they can slow down the Wizards' best player so far this year, Alex Sarr, with the bigs that they have. And this next one's going to be the Celtics at the Magic. Magic are 3.5-point favorites. Xavier Tillman out for the Celtics. The Magic have no new injuries. Celtics are 3-6 against the spread. Magic are 2-6 against the spread. I promise there are teams that are good against the spread. Boston's giving up the 4th least points this year, and then the Magic, they're completely different than they were last year. So they're giving up the 14th most points, and last season they gave up the least points to teams. So I think just the addition of Desmond Bane has just thrown everything off for them. They had a lot of size. They were really good defensively. They played slow, but it was enough for them to win with Paul Banchero, Franz Wagner. But you put Desmond Bane in there, and he wants to play a little bit faster because he's coming from the Grizzlies, who played at the fastest pace last year. But a guy I want to point out, all jokes aside, Jaylen Brown has been killing it over the last 5 games. 4 of the last 5 games, he's had 30 or more points. He's going to get a ton of volume in this one. He is the main guy for the Celtics. His line is at 24.5. I don't hate it, especially in a cup game where they got a win in their first cup game. So the record's 1-0. So they're going to want to keep going all out. Normally, when you get to the end of this, the teams that are pretty much out of it are not going to care as much, but the Celtics still want that point differential. They want to win here so they can potentially get to that playoff spot, and once you're in the playoffs, you get a bonus no matter where you are. It just depends on how big the bonus is. So I do not hate Jaylen Brown for his points. And then for the Magic, I want to shout out Paolo Banchero's rebounding. So I saw what his rebounding was, and then I checked and I saw his line was there, and I was like, Oh, wow. Okay. Boston's giving up the eighth most rebounds to teams so far this year. Banchero has 9 or more rebounds in 6 out of 8 games this year, and they put his rebounds line at 7.5. So I don't hate that at all. And then as far as a lean goes for the spread, the Magic have not really been themselves. Still trying to figure things out. Boston, they're undermanned. They're less talented than the Magic are, but I'm going to lean Boston as the underdogs. I think they're more motivated here to get a win. So leaning Boston. This next one's going to be the Pistons at the Nets. Pistons are 10.5-point favorites. For the Pistons, Karis LeVert's questionable. Tobias Harris is going to be out again. Really big news for the Nets. Cam Thomas is going to be out, and Terrence Mann is probable. So with Cam Thomas out, that's a lot of points. The Pistons are 6-2 against the spread. The Nets are 3-5 against the spread, and they got their first win against the Pacers. So little clap for the Nets. Good job. The Nets now give up the second most points total in the league. And with Tobias Harris out, a guy who has stepped up and got more minutes is Isaiah Stewart. And I just want you to check out this payout for him. So he's playing 30 minutes a game with Tobias Harris out. He's hit these 2 threes in both the games, and they're paying out plus 155. So I don't hate that at all for a guy. He's taken 7 threes a game with Tobias Harris out. So against one of the easiest matchups you could possibly get for scoring, I don't hate it for Isaiah Stewart. And then as far as the Nets players go, the Pistons give up the 5th least points. For Michael Porter Jr., I expect Asar Thompson to be guarding him, who I've mentioned before is very athletic, good defender. He can frustrate Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. still might go off just because of high volume, but it's not going to be easy. So for a lean, I'm going to lean the Pistons here for a big win with the Nets missing one of their best scorers. Next up, we have the Raptors at the Hawks. Hawks are 1.5-point favorites. Raptors have no new injuries, and the Hawks will be without Trae Young. Raptors have covered the spread in the last 3 games in a row, and they are 4-4 overall on the year. They're playing a lot better together, and the Hawks are 3-5 against the spread this year. So the Raptors are giving up the 10th most points, and then the Hawks are kind of in the middle of the league giving up points. The Hawks are also giving up the 3rd most rebounds to teams. So a guy who has been rebounding very well quietly has been Brandon Ingram. So if you take a look here at his prop, you see the 2 unders that he went under on. That was the Spurs and Rockets. I went and checked the toughest matchups for rebounds, and that's literally the first and the second. That is the top 2 toughest matchups for rebounds. He went under, and then all the other ones he went over. Now he's got a really good matchup. So for plus 112, I do not hate it with a good matchup. I don't hate the gamble on that. And for the Hawks, the Raptors really struggle against bigs. So they're giving up the 5th most points to the power forward position, the 6th most points to the center position, and then they're kind of in the middle of the league for rebounds. So a guy I want to point out, you're probably thinking Jalen Johnson and Porzingis, which is fine. But a guy I want to spotlight is going to be Nneka Okongwu. For his points plus rebounds at 20.5. It's gone over in 7 out of 8 games this year. So really good hit rate. He's playing around 25 to 30 minutes a game. So with that really good matchup, I don't hate Nneka Okongwu. The Raptors have been playing well lately. I'm going to lean their way on the spread for them to get a win versus the Hawks. This next one's going to be the Rockets at the Spurs. Rockets are 2.5-point favorites. And I just talked about how these were the 2 toughest rebounding matchups. Well, they're in the top 3 for toughest scoring matchups. So this is not one for, a lot of overs. Don't put a lot of overs for this game. So the Rockets, Steven Adams is questionable, and then the Spurs, Dylan Harper will be out. Rockets are 5-2 against the spread. Spurs are 4-3 against the spread. And I don't initially see any matchups that I love. I do see Victor Wembanyama's points are pretty high. I do see Kevin Durant's points are pretty high. I don't have anyone to like point out, this is like a heavyweight battle. So as far as like player props go, this might be one that I fade because there are some like fireworks matchups in this slate. So as far as a lean goes, I'm going to go with the Spurs in the home crowd. I know some people might disagree with that one. I think it's really close. So you could completely disagree and think the Rockets, and I would probably be like, okay, that makes sense. So I'm going to take the Spurs with the 2.5 points, so which they've only lost by 3 or more points just once this season. So I'm about halfway there. If you guys could, please like the video. If you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. And if you have some time, could you leave a comment for the algorithm? You just put a W there. That helps get this video out there for more people to see. And also, I just want to shout out the Play 20 Get 250 bundle that I've been shouting out. The first two are social sports books. So in states where you can't bet DraftKings or FanDuel, you can bet money line, spreads, single bet. You can do all of that. So check out Onyx Odds. They are Play 10 Get 100, and then Novig is doing Play 5 Get 50. And then a really popular app is doing an awesome promo, Bet 5 Get 100, and that's Underdog Fantasy, which is more like PrizePicks. The promo code is fine around 11. If you take all of those at once, you're just playing $20 and you're getting $250 to play around with. I think that's a great deal. But let's jump right into this next one. The Bulls at the Bucks. Bucks are 4-point favorites. Both these teams are in the top 13 for pace, so not quite a fireworks matchup by definition. I call a fireworks matchup 2 top 10 paces. But Bulls, Ayo Dosunmu did practice, so he is questionable. And the Bulls are 6-1 against the spread, and the Bucks are 5-3 against the spread. So here are some of the good teams. So for the Bulls, their main story this year has been Josh Giddey. He has been amazing. He's got 2 triple-doubles in a row. Close to 4 triple-doubles in a row. Triple-double is at plus 300 if you want to take a shot at it. But a prop that I think is his best prop out right now is his rebounds and assists at 17.5. He has been scoring very well. So PRA isn't, something to, shy away from, but his rebounds, assist alone, he's gone over in 5 straight. Bucks are giving up the 13th most rebounds to teams. They are a little tough on assists, giving up the 7th least assist to teams, but with this points total being so high for the over-under, they do expect a lot of points and a lot of scoring, so Josh Giddey could rack up a lot of assists here. So I do like his 17.5 rebounds assist prop. And then for the Bucks, Giannis's line is pretty high, but a guy that I was just looking through some props, and I was like, okay, let's see what pops out here. And AJ Green has a 100% hit rate on his threes at 2.5 on the over, and that's at plus 132. So you could play that for the plus money. Bulls are actually a tough matchup for 3-pointers, but I think this is one that you could knock down to 2 3-pointers made for minus 224, and then parlay it with something to make it just a safer play. I do not hate AJ Green threes in this matchup. I was just surprised it was 100% hit rate. Definitely knocking it down to 2 could be a safe play if you're looking for legs for like one of those alt line parlays. And then as far as a spread goes, I'm going to lean the Bulls on the road for the points. I think they're a very good team, especially if they get Ayo Dosunmu back. The Hornets versus the Heat. Heat are 4.5-point favorites. Heat play at the fastest pace this year, which is a complete 180 from last year. They were playing at one of the slowest paces, so I'm not sure what changed. Eric Spoelstra must have just said, hey, let's turn things up. But the Hornets, they play at the 6th fastest pace, so this is actually a fireworks matchup, so we should have a lot of points. The big issue here is LaMelo Ball is questionable. Colin Sexton is probable. And then for the Heat, Bam Adebayo will be out for this one. So the Hornets are 4-4 against the spread. The Heat are 5-3 against the spread. These teams played in Miami earlier this year. The Heat won 144-117, so it was a pretty nasty blowout. But a guy for the Hornets that I like, who has been stepping up, and I definitely like this, this if LaMelo Ball sits, is Con Knueppel for his three-pointers made. He's gone over this in 6 out of 8 games this year. In that game versus the Heat earlier this year, he knocked down 5 threes. Of course, that was a blowout, and he's a rookie, so they probably said, hey, let's let him play a little bit more. So he, knocked down 5 threes. But if LaMelo's out, I would also consider, his regular points line. That's at 13.5. With LaMelo sitting, he is averaging 22 points a game. So that looks like a steal if LaMelo sits for Con Knueppel. And then for the Heat, everyone's probably going to be looking at Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Khalil Ware, because Bam's going to be out. The guy who was, kind of a hot name, and then now I think he might be, getting slept on, is going to be Jaime Jaquez Jr., over 14.5 points. So he had 28 earlier this year against Charlotte, and he just got 21 points when Bam Adebayo went out. So his volume is definitely going up with Bam Adebayo out. And if it is a blowout, looks like he's going to get some more minutes off the bench. So Jaime Jaquez Jr. And then for the people who really want deep sleepers, I'm not going to put it up on the screen, but because he hasn't played too well this year. But with Bam Adebayo out, Nikola Jovic is someone to look out for. He was great for me last year, taking him for his three-pointers made. He just hasn't quite heated up yet. But for a lean here, I will take the Heat at home versus the Hornets. Next one's the Jazz versus the Timberwolves. Timberwolves are 11.5-point favorites. Jazz lost Walker Kessler for the year. And then the Wolves, Anthony Edwards is questionable for this one. He did play in the last game versus the Knicks, so probably going to play in this one, but we'll see. The Jazz are 5-3 against the spread. They haven't been too great with Walker Kessler out. And then the Timberwolves are 2-6 against the spread this year. As far as this one goes for props, this one's really tough. I don't know if Anthony Edwards is going to play or not. He could sit. The Jazz are really tough against power forward position. So Julius Randle's, someone you could consider, but it's going to be a tough matchup. And then as far as like Jazz players goes, they're going to have tough matchups. Like Lauri Markkanen's probably going to have Jaden McDaniels guarding him. So I'm not going to have any props to spotlight here. But for this game, I will lean the Jazz. I do think 11.5 points is a lot of points. And they do have the weapons to score and keep up in this game, especially if Anthony Edwards sits. So this next one's going to be the Mavericks versus the Grizzlies. Grizzlies are 4.5-point favorites. The Mavericks, Anthony Davis is doubtful, and Derek Lively is out. The Grizzlies have no new injuries, and the Mavericks are 3-5 against the spread. The Grizzlies are 2-7 against the spread. Grizzlies, hard to trust. Their rotation's all over the place. The chemistry is way off. You got John Morant saying things. Guys like Jaren Jackson Jr. scoring like 6 or 7 points last game. Like it's all over the place. So I wouldn't trust anyone there. Maybe Cedric Howard, but his line keeps getting higher as more people take him. And then for the Mavericks, I was going to take PJ Washington, but it looks like his lines have exploded. His basically you just want to take his double because they had his rebounds up to 9.5, which that's what I was looking at was points, rebounds, but it's getting pretty high. So I'm gonna fade this one as well, but for the lean, I'm gonna lean the Mavericks on the road with the points because the Grizzlies are just still trying to figure things out. They're all over the place. I'd be surprised if their coach is still there by the end of the year. And this next one is gonna be the Thunder versus the Kings. Thunder are 10.5-point favorites. For the Thunder, Aaron Wiggins is out and Lou Dort is questionable. The Kings, Domantas Sabonis is questionable. And then the Thunder are 4-5 against the spread, and the Kings are 4-4 against the spread. And they've been playing a lot better when Domantas Sabonis was getting healthier. They were keeping up with teams and scoring a lot better. So that injury is really big for this game. So Kings are giving up the 5th most points. The Thunder are giving up the least points. So completely different sides there. As long as Domantas Sabonis is questionable, I don't know about any Kings players to point out right now. And then for the Thunder, used to be AJ Mitchell to point out. His line's a little bit higher with Aaron Wiggins out, and then Lou Dort questionable. But a guy that I do want to point out who does not have his prop out right now, probably because Lou Dort is questionable, is going to be Isaiah Joe. So check out Isaiah Joe. We're going to put him on the prop radar. He's had 14 points, 22 points, 13, and 20 in his last 4 games off the bench. I believe he was injured before those 4 games because he didn't have any minutes logged. So that's his season right there. And he's been scoring very well. So if Lou Dort is out with Aaron Wiggins out, I think he's got a spot here to have a really great game. So as of right now, I will lean the Thunder with the points to get a double-digit win versus the Kings. If Domantas Sabonis is there, then they could potentially keep up. But as of right now, I will lean the Thunder. And then this last game is going to be the Warriors versus the Nuggets. Nuggets are 9.5-point favorites. Warriors will be without Steph Curry. Jimmy Butler is questionable, and Draymond Green is probable. Denver has no new significant injuries. And then for the Warriors, they are 5-4 against the spread. The Nuggets are 4-3 against the spread. And Warriors props really all depend on Jimmy Butler. Last time around, I was filming as he got hurt and seeing who was going to step up. I pointed out Moses Moody, so I'm gonna put him up here again, prop watch, because his lines are not out yet. So Moses Moody, when Jimmy Butler got injured, he dropped 24 points, and then the game after with Jimmy Butler just not there, he had 28 points. So he's gonna be a guy to look out for. And then for the Nuggets, I said last time, Jokic rebounds, assists had just been a wagon. It was just kept hitting over and over and over again. His points line is pretty high because he does historically play pretty well against the Warriors. He did hit his rebounds, assist earlier this year. But right now, I think with the best payout would be triple-double. So triple-double is at plus 100, just straight even money. He's hit it 71% of the time this year, and he had one versus Warriors to start off the year. So I'd lean more towards, just because of the payout, more towards the triple-double for him, because he's just been hitting that so easily. And even money for 71% hit rate play, I will take that. And then this Warriors team, when they didn't have Jimmy Butler, they lost to the Kings, who the Kings haven't been too great this year. So I don't know if he's playing or not, so I'm going to lean the Nuggets at home to get a double-digit win versus the Warriors, assuming Jimmy Butler's not there. But even if he is there, I think the Nuggets, might be able to get it done in a what should be a playoff environment with the cup going on. God bless you. It's fun around. My name is Jordan. I will catch you on the next one. Bye.